Hello, welcome to our channel. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. We're going to be covering a few lost episodes of the start of our campaign in lieu of character interviews. So, what we're going to do today and for the foreseeable future until we get everybody covered is bring everybody into a little one on one call and then just have them give a little bit of background on who their character is and just what they're all about moving into our main story. So, with me today, I have Christopher Whaley, the one and the only Dak'linn Verdoss. A little backstory here. Dak'linn is originally from a game I ran in college that ran for about 500 play hours. We were up to like 450 or 500 earned XP at one point in time. And that game came to an end, and fortunately, with Sunstriders as we are now, found a really nice potential opening for a return for Chris to come back to the table and play with me again, and B, to have a returning character. So, why don't you just tell us a little bit about Dak'linn to start, Chris?
All right, so Dak'linn Verdoss would become to be the minor diktat of the Corellian System. Smooth talking, suave, handsome, thick mustache, just a human guy. Uh, you know, grew up late Clone Wars. Well, I guess he grew up in the Clone Wars. Uh, Pro CIS sentiment, much to the ire of his politically involved parents. Uh, Went on to have many adventures and exploits fighting against the Empire and the dark side.
Right. And with that, I mean, we had a lot of adventures in that first game. Starting in Sunstriders now, so starting in this new game, what did you have in mind for Dak'linn moving into everything one more time?
So, like I was talking to you about the other day, I think closure is the big
Right.
theme for Dak'linn here. There's a lot of, I guess, unsolved conflict, a lot of loose ends, as it were, a lot of things that he felt like he hasn't done or hasn't done right. Uh, and getting the opportunity to help younglings, if you will, down the path of the Jedi. Definitely some sort, just seeking fulfillment, I guess, and looking for like a permanent end. Because, at the end of the first session, it was just kind of, oh, he was whisked away to the edge of the galaxy, never to be seen again. Not really super satisfying. So this, I feel, probably looking for a more permanent, concrete, you know,
Right.
whatever form that may take. Uh,
And we definitely have the that set up here. In case you haven't watched, any of our mainline stuff yet, the game is set after the sequels. So, game is roughly a year after the Battle of Exegol. So, in terms of already like canon content, it's pretty much wide open. We'll be having a lot of fun. I have a lot of cool stuff in store, which I can't wait to show you guys. But to kind of circle back, is there anything different from trying to get into the mindset of like 25-year-old Dak'linn in the dark times with the threat of the Empire looming everywhere versus now 65-ish-year-old Dak'linn who is sort of thrust into the role of master and caretaker, if so?
oh yeah, it's the same character, but it's totally different. I mean, it's he's not swashbuckling through the galaxy like he was. I mean, they're still traveling around swashbuckling, but it's not the same. Now he's more of like making sure these guys that he's kind of charged with don't die. They learn the right things, they do the right things. Um, maybe help them along the path of doing the right choices. So in Dak'linn's younger years, he was worried about the ladies, worried about, looking good, feeling good, sounding good. And now you've taken that, and there's really, what do we decide, 30 years, 15-ish years he's been back in the galaxy. But you know so for 15 years he was just same old Dak'linn, just getting older on some faraway planet.
Right.
So a lot of it is he still has that younger mindset, but I think that he's coming to find that he can't do the things he was doing when he was younger. So it's definitely interesting transitioning from, like I said, like that young suave, just face man, into this older mentor kind of mindset.
Right, and even with, I'm sure that is interesting compared to like Knox, our Deveronian, who is upstart, young, tough, 19, and just Garrett does a hell of a job with him. I mean, he's been running around, not getting hit, doing tons of damage, just effectively running our combat sessions by himself. And that was a lot like you in our first game as
Yeah.
well. And
The
a
only
little bit
difference
of
being he can actually take the hits.
right, he has a little bit higher HP pool than you had. Is a little bit more purpose built for tanking than Dak'linn ever was. A downside to the pretty face, I guess. It's easier to hit.
Yeah,
So,
that's it.
out of your three Padawans, for lack of a better term, what or who is most interesting to you so far?
Honestly, I think it's a toss up between all three of them. But if I had to, so out of character, I think Raz probably the most interesting to me as a player, because it's very, we always get in the mindset of like, oh, this is my character. He knows exactly what he's doing all the time. And Dom playing Raz is just, I mean, like he really doesn't know anything, and he plays the part really well. Obviously
Right.
Dom, familiar with the system, knows what he's doing, but the character he's playing is just, I mean, he's a bright-eyed, like young guy fresh out of Glee Ancilla,
Right.
Nautilin, I guess I should
Mm-hmm.
say.
Either way, yeah.
uh and he plays the character really well. So I think that's the most interesting part to me, because I don't think I've ever in my tabletop sessions have ever had like the new guy stereotype at the table with me. But as far as in character, I think Dak'linn probably finds Joom the most interesting. A lot of similarities, a
Right.
lot
Right.
of, everything rhymes in Star Wars, and this is we are from the same
No
stanza.
exception here. Right.
So Joom being who he is and kind of being, you know, the spokesman for this gang, or, you know, uh hits home for Dak'linn, I think.
And
And,
that is definitely one relationship I can't wait to just continue to dive into because we're
yeah.
already there. And we've kind of touched on it a little bit in a few sessions already. But like, he just, whenever in character creation, not to take away too much from whenever I have to do this with Noah again, but he was like, I want to be from Corellia. I was like, oh, great. So already, like, my DM mind was just running on what potential ties I could have to you guys. And then eventually, once I brought it up, and all gears just started firing for story hooks and everything like that. So I'm really excited to get into that on our Sunday nights. And outside of that, spoiler, in our last session, we just made a monumental step in our characters' growth and constructed their first lightsabers. Um, how are we feeling about the group taking this next step into being true, like real Force users in the galaxy?
I don't have kids, but I feel like this is exactly what parents feel whenever their kids start walking. And it's like now all of a sudden they're going to be doing all kinds of stuff, like and there's nothing I can really do to stop it. So at this point, Dak'linn is just holding on for dear life and hoping everything turns out right
All
because he
right.
doesn't know what he's doing. You know?
Right, and with a little bit more backstory from that old game, their original group, their mentor was a holocron. I mean, limited knowledge, while they're super incredible pieces of technology, they never really had a formal master or anything like that. So Dak'linn and his gang were just running around, figuring stuff out on their own, and now, and that's something that I've really was what really drew me to wanting to give you the go ahead to bring Dak'linn back, was seeing you specifically out of character have to take the mentor role for
Ugh.
these new guys in the system, and then also in character. Just because I know you dive so deep in your characters, I'm ready for whatever you can put out. So just giving you the opportunity to flex this, especially with, having ties to current threats in the galaxy and stuff like that, without saying too much, really just opens the avenue wide for me. So
Yeah.
really, I'm excited to get that done. But
Oh,
that's
yeah.
pretty much all I wanted to cover today. Any closing thoughts before we sign off?
Stay tuned. It's going to get interesting.
All right, man. Hey, well, thank you so much for your time today, Chris. We'll
Absolutely.
continue talking a little bit more like this, and check in on maybe Monday or Tuesdays for new episodes. Should have them up. Thanks.
Cool.